You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. Today, we're going to talk about the planet Neptune and how to use Neptune energy in your energy practice. Neptune rules Pisces and can be a valuable addition to your knowledge about planetary energies. Neptune has a reputation about being airy-fairy, but is it really? How can Neptune energies be used in a positive way? We will also talk about how astrology aspects are never fatal and can be cleared, refined, and can help you and your personal evolution. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. By the way, I really like that, useful for everyday life.
Yes.
Jason, let's talk about Neptune and what we were able to see about this very interesting planet.
Well, and I just want to review exactly what we do when we review a planet like this.
Okay.
So one of the first things we do is we look at the science.
Yes, we do.
And see what's going on, what's known about the planet, and then we convert that into a metaphor.
Correct.
And then we try and just talk to Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I know that sounds strange, but we see that all the planets have a personality.
Yeah.
And that personality is connected to energy. And if we call in that energy,
correct,
it can be very, very helpful.
Yes.
It's like a tool in your toolbox.
Right.
So, and the other thing is that if you know, today we're talking about Neptune,
mm-hmm,
but if you know about a lot of the different planets, the energies that they have,
mm-hmm,
and how they can be useful, oh my gosh,
right,
it's an amazing way to use astrology.
Yes.
I've always thought, I was always skeptical, not about that astrology was accurate, but well, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
So you read
how do you use it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You read your natal sign and say, oh yeah, I'm like that, or I'm not like that.
Right.
Or,
that kind of thing. Sure.
It gives you, there's a couple of things. It gives you a vocabulary.
Yes.
Being a fire sign is different than being an air sign, for example.
Yeah.
And when I say that I've got two aspects of fire in my chart, that's a way of describing who I am, and describing you have all air in your chart.
So does that mean that I'm an airhead? And the answer to that is
not.
If you're wise, you won't say that to me.
But it's not. That's not what it means. It
At
just
all.
means,
yes, I know that. I was making a joke.
How our energies work in the world.
Yes.
And it is true. I mean, and how our energies work together. It gives us a vocabulary that most people wouldn't have.
Right.
That's
correct.
Because just, regular English doesn't work like that. So
correct.
Let's go to Neptune.
Okay.
And there's not a lot known about Neptune.
Well, it is the farthest planet out.
It is,
farthest from the sun, correct? Is that how you say that? All right.
Well, I guess unless you talk about Pluto, and that just gets
We're not
nerdy.
going to go there at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
At the moment. Okay.
So it was also, and I think this is interesting for the metaphor, because it was discovered through mathematics, and it's not because it was seen. it was the mathematician discovered it because they said a planet should be here, and I don't know what the mathematical
formulas and so forth are for that.
Yeah, how he got to that place,
right? Okay.
but it was he determined where it was and how big it should be, and then they discovered it.
I see.
Using telescopes, and that was back when the telescopes were a little more limited than they are today.
Yeah, I would think so.
But so what's the metaphor? Well, from me, when I'm interpreting that, it's very Piscean, because Pisces. So Neptune rules Pisces. And I guess we're taking that for granted if you haven't known that. Neptune rules Pisces. So this is the Pisces show. And Pisces are about, is a water sign, and it's about emotions.
Yes.
And Pisces can be very emotional. We have Pisces people in our life.
A lot of Pisces
and
people.
You actually have a big Pisces aspect in your chart.
Yes, I do.
So Neptune rules Pisces. And so Piscean people, they stand back, except when they don't.
By the way, he just talked about me in one sentence, said the whole thing.
Well,
except when I don't.
I think wasn't Marilyn Monroe a Pisces? I think she was.
Okay.
And I'm not an expert about Marilyn Monroe, but she was out there, but then she wasn't. She had this very public persona that she developed.
Correct.
And very astutely, as a matter of fact. But the real her didn't show.
Yeah.
And there's another quality about Pisceans that they're drawn to alcohol and drugs because they have this nature that is very dramatic. So let's go back to the science, okay?
Okay.
The winds on Neptune up to 1,200 miles per hour, they literally break the sound barrier.
That's unreal.
So you have this beautiful blue planet. If you look at our picture about today's show, the beautiful blue planet. That's just, it's like, that's so nice. That's so beautiful.
Right.
It's got a rich blue color.
Yes.
But then underneath that, there's this turmoil, 1,200 miles an hour winds, and things are just moving, and oh my gosh.
Right.
And then it has the winds, and then it has a mantle, which is, because of the pressure, creates this liquid that is warm.
Sure.
They even said it's like a sea of diamonds, because the pressure of the atmosphere. But then there's this solid core, and that's where most Pisceans want to be, but they can't get there.
And can I say why not?
Well, okay, so we're talking about astrology now. So we're switching from Neptune to astrology.
Okay.
But Pisces represents two fish, and the fish represent the soul and the personality. The personality swims downstream, and the soul swims upstream.
Right.
Now, if a Piscean person can put those two together into the soul and swim upstream, they often are attracted to service, to be useful to mankind.
Correct.
If their soul is attached to their personality going downstream, that's when they have the problems, drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
All that emotional turmoil has to be quieted. It's like, oh my gosh.
You got to shut it up.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And drugs, alcohol works with that really well.
Right.
I think isn't that what Marilyn Monroe, that was a drug overdose? Yeah. She died died of a drug overdose.
Yes.
That's very Piscean, because they're attracted to that. And so and we're going to talk about how these aspects of astrology don't fate you.
Okay.
So I know we're kind of running out of time. In the next segment, I want to talk about this, because I had you go and talk to Neptune.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that more in the next segment.
Okay, that sounds good. But I have a couple of well, first off, I do have a comment. Jason's mother is a Pisces, And one of the things that I see is that her goal in life is and was to do service. That was where you could see she was the happiest. That's where you could see she was a form of her authentic self, not completely, but a form of it. That was when she was working. But when she would go home, it was as if the fish turned around and went the other way, and she became a servant, not
Right.
of service.
Right.
And I see for a lot of the Pisces people that I know that are using Neptune energy in who they are, they're one way in some aspects and another way in other aspects. And understanding that is huge, because people don't see how they change themselves to fit a situation. And sometimes they cheat themselves. And this is the thing I wanted to say about your mom. I see that she cheated herself in so many ways when she wasn't of service.
She was a nurse.
That's
actually,
right.
She was a nurse, a head nurse, cardiac care, all that stuff. But she was enslaved to my dad.
Completely.
That's where she became a servant.
Exactly.
I think that's a really good example.
I think so too.
How that Pisces can change.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and understanding why the picture, the metaphor of the two fish is for Pisces and Neptune energy.
So let's do the quick tip.
Okay, Jason, wait a minute. What's the quick tip for today?
Neptune, which rules Pisces, wants to teach us about love.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk some more about that in the next segment.
Yes,
it understands the ways of the soul in a deep and profound way, but because of all the intensity and passions that swirl around, the deep understanding of the soul can be lost to bad behaviors and indulgences.
Exactly.
True love is never confined or structured and can be accepting of many ways and people who present to the world in odd and weird ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad with my mom.
Yes.
She co-opted her.
He co-opted her.
Yes. Because of the easy acceptance, Pisces are often exploited and subject to cons and lies.
Exactly what he did.
Yes.
Yes.
Understanding the two sides of the fish, which represents the personality, and the soul, are key to the being of true service in the world.
Yes, I agree. So in the next segment, we're going to talk about how to apply and use Neptune energy to your energy practice, even if you don't have Pisces aspects in your chart. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show, unscripted, with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how to apply and use Neptune energy to your energy practice, or for your energy practice, even if you don't have Pisces aspects in your chart. Jason, how can a person use Neptune energy for themselves in their own energy practice?
To summarize, sparingly.
Okay.
And we didn't talk about this in the last segment, but I think it's the most important part of Neptune energy.
Okay, it's very strong.
It's very strong. It's very emotional.
Yes.
But it's about love. When I go to Neptune and talk to it, it's talking about love and the deep, soulful understanding of love that's authentic and true.
Okay.
My mom's a Pisces, and your sister is a Pisces, and when they get together, it's almost funny, but they say, my mom recognizes her sister and calls her by name, and they hug and they say, "Oh, I love you," and then the other one says, "No, I love you," and then the other one says, "No, I love you," and it goes back and forth, and both of us are trying not to vomit in our mouth, and it's just it's a perfect reflection of that Piscean love that's up here at superficial levels.
Exactly. It's not authentic.
It's not authentic.
And that's the hard part for me.
Yes.
Because I can read energies it makes it difficult.
Well, and they have a connection, and
they do,
and they
truly do love each other.
Yeah, they do connect,
yes.
and
yes.
they're family now, and
yes.
they've been family for a long time, and
Correct.
We've gotten together many times over the years, but it's for them, it's about the I love you man's,
yeah,
and as opposed to just having a relationship and using that relationship in a way that's loving.
Yes, very much. And often one of the things when I go read the planet of Neptune, one of the things that I do see, that the turmoil on the outside, it is a form of protection.
Mm-hmm.
I see that very, very, very clearly. Then when I go and look, if I stand back and look, that turmoil that's around around the outside almost has a true beauty to it as I see it. But then if I get closer to it, I can feel that turmoil. And every Pisces person that is a Pisces born under that planet, I see that they have true turmoil within, and they don't know what to do with it.
Well, and to me, the best metaphor, and this is a warning, is Army story. But
okay.
When I was in the Army, I was in the 82nd Airborne. We jumped out of planes with parachutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's called a C-141. It's a jet. And when you jumped out the door, the wind was so strong.
Yeah.
It's like you were being thrown. It's like you lost any control whatsoever. You were being thrown out the back, and or sucked in like to a big vacuum cleaner. You're out of control. But that's a perfect metaphor for how we see that Piscean emotions when you're in that, again, the 1,200 miles an hour on the surface.
Exactly.
You can't control. We talk about
what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because when you're that emotional,
yes.
We say this all the time, and I know she wants to hit me all the time when I say that to her when she is being emotional.
A little.
Yeah. That we'll just step out of it and look at it from an objective standpoint.
Right. But we have, if you're talking about, for me, I have to, I was never trained that was even a remote possibility.
Yeah.
In other words, I was trained that when you're emotional, you're just emotional and everybody hates you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's no
one. You have no way to deal with it at all.
No. Yeah. And it made for crazy. Let me just say it that way.
By the way, she's not a Pisces, but she has a Pisces aspect in her chart.
Yes, I do.
That's very predominant. Yes. Yes.
Strong. Yes.
So Pisces energy, that Neptune energy, can be really used for loving and support.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you want to be careful. Like for my mom, we've been giving her planetary energies a lot, but it's rare that I give her Neptune energy. And the reason is,
go ahead,
she's got dementia. We're trying to get her feet on the ground. We're trying to have her feel good about what she's doing in life.
Right.
That Neptune energy just makes you
it can create la and confusion.
Yes.
And that's really, really, really difficult to deal with, especially someone on the outside looking in.
Well, when you have dementia, and you can't remember anything, and
you don't know why.
When she's emotional, she acts it out, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
She can't say I have pain.
Right.
She just she acts like she's in pain.
Well, and one of the things I started to say earlier, I'm going to go back to this for just a moment. One of the things that I see about Neptune energy is you can only use a little bit of it because most of us do not understand authentic love.
Yes.
And we certainly don't understand authentic love of ourselves.
Yes.
And whether people really realize that or not, it's a big, big, big deal. So,
well, and here's the thing. Okay. And we need to talk about how you can use it, but
right.
Most times when you're, when you need to feel connected, you're feeling
this is
hopeless.
Really good. This is really good.
Neptune can be of help.
Right. But if I was going to prescribe,
yes,
which I'm not going to prescribe, but I would say I would use a pinch of Neptune energy as opposed to a pound of Neptune energy, so to speak.
Because if you're feeling lonely or you're feeling hopeless or you're feeling like, oh my gosh, you could wallow.
And why would you wallow in something you don't understand?
Yes.
When you give yourself a pinch of it, then you can observe and see how to use it in your highest and best interest. And that's one of the reasons we do this show, so we can help you see how to use the energies of life in your highest and best interest.
In a practical way.
In a very practical way.
So let's talk about the practicality, okay? It represents cold, so it could be used for like rage and anger and hate are very red.
Yes, very much so.
You know, someone's enraged, but it's also very emotional.
Yes.
So when someone's in rage and hate and anger, you know, you would think, well, I'm going to cool it off with Neptune energy. But what someone like that needs more than anything else is objectivity.
Correct.
To see what they're angry about.
And when you're enraged, and by the way, I happen to know this personally, but when you're enraged or hurt or stuck in hate about not only yourself and someone else, if you use a pound of something, how are you going to be able to see where that objectivity is?
Yes.
Or even be able to call it in? That's why I say use a pinch, and then that love for yourself will enable you to go, oh, I need objectivity here, and it works.
So in that situation, Mercury energy is really good. We've been using Mercury energy a lot because it's more intellectual, especially with your emotions.
And it's also not so emotional.
Yes.
But Neptune energy, I've been looking at it for the last 3 or 4 days, and I see that you touch it too much, so to speak, or you connect with it too much, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially if you've never used it before or have any sort of understanding of it. That's one of the things I want to say about it.
So it could be used for intense emotions that are negative, just using a pinch. But really what you need in those situations is always objectivity also.
Yes.
So a pinch of that and a huge amount of Mercury energy.
That's exactly right.
So
and by the way, that would then become a balance.
Yes.
It might sound, well, one's just a pinch and one is a huge amount, but you need balance there.
Balance, so you have the objectivity.
Exactly.
It's good for inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of disease and illness comes from inflammation, which if you think about it, is red. And inflammation, the metaphor for inflammation is anger.
Yes, that's right.
So if you have too much inflammation, you would think Neptune would be good. Sometimes it is, but again, just a pinch.
Yes.
It's good for healing.
Yeah.
You know, that love, what is better than, you know, the healing love of someone else to make you feel better, especially when you're sick.
Correct.
It's good for being supportive when you need to feel loved.
Yes.
You know, when you feel all alone, there's no one loves me, you know, it can be really good. And I use it for positive feelings towards self.
Yes.
You know, there are times that moms gets really hopeless because she's old and she can't do things, and she's in pain. And but we've been using more Mercury energy, and for her, she's got a Sagittarius moon, which is fire.
Yes.
We've been using Jupiter energy, and that works really well for her.
Exactly. So Jason, what is the quick tip for this segment here?
Neptune energy is healing and supportive, but needs to be used sparingly and with objectivity.
Yes.
It can be overwhelming and difficult to control if it's used too much. It's powerful energy, and more is never better. When used for healing, it can help reduce inflammation in the body. It can be used when you feel all alone or in need of support, or friendly energy that is warm and forgiving.
Yes.
And the only trap is when it's used as an indulgence.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is that because it is very loving, it's also very accepting. Yes. So if you have a big, you know, all of a sudden you woke up one day and you have a big wart on your nose, you know, Neptune energy will say, okay, we still love you. It's still, you know.
Yes. And that's really, really, really positive.
Yes.
And that's, by the way, that's a pinch of that. So you can call in other energies that you need to help that with that balance.
Yes.
So in the next segment, we're going to talk about astrology aspects that can be difficult, but many people think doom them to be a certain way or prescribes who they are authentically, which, by the way, is not true. But we have another perspective on this. This is the ecosystem approach, unscripted, with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about astrology aspects that can be difficult, but many people think fate them, meaning if they're there, that there's nothing they can do about them. Well, which, by the way, is not exactly true. We'll put it that way. And we're going to give you a perspective on how to deal with all of that.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, Jason, what do you mean by difficult aspects in astrology?
So I'm just going to teach you a little bit about astrology here. Okay. Every sign has its negative traits.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you some examples here in just a minute. But it doesn't mean that you're doomed for a lifetime of those traits or being overcome by those traits.
Okay.
And when you use the ecosystem approach, you have more possibilities. Now, if you remember, if you've been listening for a while, we've always said that the Enneagram type, your Enneagram type, which is the first personality identification that we use when we start with someone.
That's correct.
That tells you about the negative energy attached to you.
Right.
So the Enneagram type is about your behavioral compulsions that you have.
Right.
That you can't do, that you don't have free will about. You do them automatically. They're compulsive.
Okay.
You know, for example, 2s are compulsively nice.
Yes.
1s have to be perfect. Yes. 6s have to make sure that they're secure by eliminating, things that could cause problems because of fear.
Okay.
7s, are the Peter Pans, always making plans and having fun compulsively.
Right.
Go
all the
go,
time.
go.
Correct.
So, and 8s always are more aggressive. When someone hurts them, they get aggressive.
Yes.
They can't help it.
Yes.
So anyways, that's negative energy. But we've always said that your natal chart in astrology represents who you are authentically.
Yes.
And that authenticness, well, okay, if you're like me, I'm a Sagittarius. If you're a Sagittarius, are you doomed to being one of the traits of a Sagittarius is foot and mouth. And, there have been times that, I've been way too blunt for my bride here, and usually she just doesn't get mad. She gets hurt.
True.
The most famous, in one of the astrology books, they talked about how a Sagittarius is almost too optimistic or too positive. And they gave an example. Someone could send them a sack of horse manure, and a Sagittarius would just figure that they forgot to send the horse, which kind of describes, optimism that's gone astray.
Okay.
That
was good.
Yeah, Libras.
That would be me.
Are grumpy. Libras like to have balance, and they love beauty.
And it's really difficult when things aren't in balance, because it creates fear and
anxiety.
And when that happens, some of us get grumpy.
So does that doom us? Virgos, you have a lot of Virgo in your chart. They can be controlling, and they need to be perfect, and they have a reputation for being very anxious and critical of other people.
Okay.
Well, that's not necessarily, all these traits can be, in the right situation, can be very positive.
Correct.
So what does the ecosystem approach do for these traits? Well, think of it like sandpaper. If you've cut a piece of wood, but it's not smooth, you want to sand down the edges.
Yes.
So when a A Libra is out of balance, and you want to balance it up, you can smooth it out so that the best part of them is when they're balanced and they radiate this Venus energy, this charm, this love, this happiness that's very, very appealing. Using the ecosystem approach, that's what you do.
Well, and how you do that is by removing negative energies that are standing in your way,
exactly,
that are blocking you, that are keeping you from the clarity that you need. And by the way, that isn't just a Libra. That it's
all 12
of the signs,
the zodiac signs. Yes.
Thank you. The zodiac signs. And it's really it's one of the things that just amazed me when I first started working with removing negative energy, and then realized how many things we could apply this to. I thought it to be quite phenomenal.
So the reason I mentioned the Enneagram first was that that's where our focus has been. And we imply that your natal chart is who you are and that's it. But you can use that ecosystem approach as sandpaper for those traits that are just very, very intense and maybe out of control sometimes.
And even for people who have rough edges,
yes,
would be a really good sandpaper metaphor.
Well, exactly. Right. And, then when you start to understand astrology, so you've been working with the ecosystem approach for a while, you've been clearing a lot of negative energy, you've got a handle on your Enneagram type because you can see it, when it comes up in your life.
Correct.
Then you start looking at your natal chart and astrology, those aspects that are just, give you problems, you can start to apply a clearing process to those areas.
Correct.
So, for example, when I'm too optimistic, that's not probably, I'm trying to find a good example. My examples are much better with you.
Of course they are.
But so
go ahead and use one of those.
Yeah. So when a Libra's out of balance, you can help bring them into balance by clearing the anxiety and the stress, the overwhelm.
And then you can see where the original out of balance problem is.
Yes.
You have to remove those negative energies. And by the way, I always think of them as being a form of a curtain or a cloud or something to that effect that keeps me, as being that Libra, from seeing with clarity what's blocking me from being in balance and being authentically who I am.
Remember Harry Potter?
Yes.
The cloak of invisibility.
Exactly.
Imagine a cloak that makes everything around you invisible.
Yes.
That's
a really good way to say that.
You can't see outside.
Exactly. And so, and you start at the beginning. If you don't know what's clear, of course, right out of the gate, you just clear confusion or numbness, things like that. And pretty soon you'll be able to start seeing, that instance made me afraid. That instant made me angry. I got hurt by those sort of things. And the irony is that you're removing these negative energies, but you also learn about you authentically in the process.
Yeah.
I find it to be awesome.
So each Enneagram type has that, and then as you dive into your natal chart,
correct,
there's different aspects of your moon sign, your ascending sign, and then the different planets.
And when you start to understand those, then you can have more. Then you have the ability to see more things that need to be removed. For instance, someone who was born under the sign of Cancer, that the moon is their sign. And if you think about it, there's two sides to the moon. There's the dark side of the moon and the light side of the moon. And oftentimes a Cancer, when the situation isn't right, will go straight to the dark side of the moon and get stuck there.
Yeah.
And so I say to anyone who has a Cancer in their chart, the moon in their chart, I would say, do yourself a great big favor, take a great big deep breath and look to see if you're on the dark side, if you're on the light side, and actually take a look at both of them so you can see see how to use that energy in your best interest.
Well, and the way you do that is is to say, okay, what's happening with this dark side?
Yeah.
How is that expressing it?
And why?
Yes.
And why?
And clear the why.
And clear the why. That's exactly right. Well done.
So
I'm
okay.
impressed. All right.
so the other aspects, and we're running out of time.
I know.
It's not as important. We haven't talked a lot about these even with our clients.
Okay.
But the planets in your chart have a relationship based on an angle. So squares, for example, create tension.
Okay.
Conjunction creates blind spots. They're together.
Okay.
Oppositions, where they're at opposite sides, right. They can create this
opposite sides with their back to each other, as I would see it.
Well, yes. And so there's a tension there that can be difficult.
Absolutely.
And the idea is that you can clear those relationships just like you clear the relationships with someone, the person you have a problem with.
Exactly. So, Jason, what is the quick tip? And if we have time, we'll talk about how to do the clearing.
Okay. When you read astrology books, descriptions and aspects are presented as permanent or inescapable, but it's not true. Mm-hmm. Using the ecosystem approach, all conditions and aspects can be refined and softened. The angles in our natal chart are like relationships, except they are internal. And just like with an actual relationship, using energy that we teach, using the ecosystem approach, they can be resolved or made better in ways that are easier and more positive for you.
Because with the ecosystem approach, you gain clarity.
Right.
And that's so very important. Okay, so Jason, can you can you tell everyone how to use the
how to clear,
how to do clearing, how to remove negative energy?
So it's very simple. You're using your imagination. Mm-hmm. You can stand, sit. It doesn't matter what position you're in. Mm-hmm. And so when we say and to eliminate, in your mind's eye and your imagination, gather up all that negative energy that we're saying to eliminate, or sometimes we say barriers, sometimes we say veils and illusions,
or use specific words.
Yeah, or specific words like fear, anger.
Correct.
And we gather up those veils and illusions. It's like when we say veils and illusions, it's like that Harry Potter cloak. So we're taking that cloak off.
Yes.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions. So like taking that cloak off.
Exactly.
And put it into the processor.
Exactly. So and then we'll activate life force energy at the end of that. We'll talk about that in the next segment. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to remove some negative energy so you can start to use Neptune energy and understand Pisces with more clarity. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to remove some negative energy so you can start to use Neptune energy and understand Pisces with more clarity. Jason?
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see the amazing properties for healing with Neptune energy.
That's a good one.
So gather up those veils and illusions, blow them into that processor. Sierra put up the picture of the processor, and it's like a trash can on wheels if you're listening and not watching.
Correct.
And it processes the negative energy so it comes out neutral.
Okay. And moving right along here, I'm going to shorten it up. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see Neptune rules Pisces and understand this understanding this energy helps me understand Pisces people. And remember, they're very emotional. So nice and easy. Take a nice big breath, pull it up, and blow out any negative energy.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that using the ecosystem approach can help refine and overcome difficult aspects in someone's natal chart.
Nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it out. And to eliminate the intense feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress I have about any difficult aspects of my chart, meaning your own personal chart. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the barrier so I can see that working with planetary energies is a complete toolbox of help and support for my daily living.
Yes, I love that. Take a breath. And to eliminate the barrier so I can see the main benefit of using knowledge about astrology can be to support the energies I'm trying to have and help me be strong for the energies I'm trying to remove. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear and terror that I have that come from bad situations in my life that can be replaced with positive energy from the planets.
Yeah, I love that. Take a breath and blow it out. Any feelings of fear and terror that I have that come from a bad situation in my life that can be replaced with positive energies from the planets. Now that's nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the barrier, so I can see that Pisces represents two fish of the soul and the personality. And I need to clear so that I'm a Pisces and I choose the soul.
Nice. Take a breath. And to eliminate any feelings of fear, hurt, shame that I have about my Pisces nature, where I chose bad behaviors, I can always clear my way to the best behaviors. That's a good one too. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see there's always has to be a form of balance when I use planetary energies, and using too much of one can throw off the balance, especially using Neptune energy.
Take a breath. And to eliminate any embarrassment I have about using energies and working with all energies because of the cultural prejudices and judgments that are not based on fact. That's pretty big. Take a breath. Jason?
And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that developing my knowledge of all planetary energies can increase my power to help myself for the rest of my life.
I love that one too. Take a breath. I'm going to activate some life force energy. Okay, here we go. Follow along. This is easy. It's basically the same thing, but we're going to activate life force and have it come in through the top of our head. And just follow along and you'll get this one. So I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can use life force energy for all that I need and want. And that includes balance and love of myself, and the ability to use discretion in the correct way in my highest and best interest for all that I need. And of course, that means you out there for all that you need starting right now. Pull in that energy, that life force energy, let it go all the way down your body to the tips of your toes. Stop it right there. Ask it to turn around right now and have it come back up and remove any more negative energy that's left over. Blow it out. Jason?
There's something we need to do when we haven't done it, and I'm going to do it real quick right now.
Okay.
So if you want to activate Neptune energy, this is how you do it.
Okay.
So instead of activating life force, it's just you mention, you call out the specific planet.
Correct.
So here we go. And to activate Neptune energy
in a very small dose.
In a very small dose, so I can have help to love and connect with my soul right now.
I love that. Pull it in. And blow out any negative energy that Neptune energy said, you don't belong here. There you go.
And I want to do this next one.
Go right ahead.
And to activate. So if you're a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio, and you're another water sign, and you've got a lot of emotions going on right now, and things are just in turmoil, this is what you would do, for example. And to activate Mercury energy right now, so that I can have more objectivity about my emotions that seem to be out of control right now.
Right.
Take a breath.
Pull it in and blow it out.
And then one last one, and then you go for the last one. And to activate Jupiter energy, so that I can have some fiery balance with all that water, so that I can have hope and an optimism about the future,
and have clarity.
And have clarity right now.
Yes.
Take a breath.
Pull it in and blow it out. And last one, and to activate life force so I can be happy, healthy, balanced, have joy and laughter and love, clarity, and anything else that I need and want right now that's in my highest and best interest, so I can use all of the planetary energies in the correct balance for me right now. Nice and easy. Pull it in. Oh, that feels so good. And blow it out. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
This is I just came up with this, but I think it's going to be so good.
Okay.
You know, who started it, or who started the argument?
Okay? Oh, I see. What did you do to cause this?
We've had so many people that said, well, I didn't start it, you know,
and
they started it.
And therefore,
whatever grief that I pose upon that other person is
on them.
Okay.
Yes.
And the problem is that, especially with a relationship or whatever, you may have started it 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But they're responding now. And if you understand energy,
right,
you can see those kind of responses. So this is, you know, if you've ever been worried about who started it,
right,
you have to tune in for next week's show.
And by the way, it's going to be a good one. This is going to be fun.
Yes.
In my opinion. So Jason,
you know, if today's show, if you're saying, oh my gosh, I need some Neptune energy. Oh my gosh, I'm a Pisces, Scorpio, or a Cancer, and I need to balance out those emotions that kind of get away from me, and, you know,
out of control.
Mm-hmm. Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section.
Yeah.
And you'll get the newsletter that has the clearings every week, picture of the processor. It works out really nicely. Listen to our show every week.
Okay.
You can do all this. It's all free. You can do the clearings every week. You listen to the show and you'll understand how to do it.
What about Facebook?
Yeah, an energy approach to your life.
Okay.
And if you like that, go to our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org, and all of our videos are there, and you can like us while you're there.
I love that. So we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.